Good evening, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and yeah, I know it's been a long time since I've recorded. I'm aware of this, and I'm sorry about that. But anyway, we're here to actually, I guess, update because I can't remember if I've done a forecast this year or not. But I'm going to start updating every week, looking at the race, talking about, election stuff, and hopefully I get it right this time. Unlike what happened in 2020 and 2022, where I missed some things, especially in 22. God, that was probably, I think, my worst cycle. There we go, and safe. Sorry about that. Just got back from a range day. Anyway, so I'm going to go from safe to likely for both candidates, and we're going to start with Democrats, or I guess President Biden, because let's be honest here. Those are our nominees. And this is not showing what I want to happen. This is not showing this is based off of the information I have today, and I have just looked at polling both nationally, and I've also been keeping myself up to date on the various states. For example, here's Alabama, which no one's gonna. Here's Alaska, which I am super skeptical of this poll, but whatever. And I'll show you why I'm skeptical of that, but going through and looking at the updated averages. All right. So, if they've got an average put together, which in the case of Arkansas, they don't, that's an interesting one. But, going through and looking at it, this one is kind of interesting, but Delaware, no polling. Florida, yeah, that's where I'd expect. Georgia, that's a little bit crazy. And this is why I'm skeptical of this poll and this pollster. Because, I'm sorry, what? But yeah, so let's be honest here. So I'm going to be putting these states into the safe category for Biden. I'm not really going to talk about them too much. Listen, these are states that should be safe for the Biden campaign. And I'm also putting the 1st Congressional District in Maine in that category, as well as Maryland and the district. And we'll talk about some of these. And you may be wondering, that's not a lot to put in the safe Biden category. What happened to New York and what happened to, New Jersey, some of these states? I almost forgot one. Delaware. There's no. But we'll talk about them, and I'm going to explain why I didn't put them there. Just like all of these states are in the safe for the Donald category. Because guess what? I genuinely don't see the Biden campaign winning them. And it's a similar number of electoral votes, that we're looking at here. So now I'm going to move to the likely category. And I'm going to put Colorado in that category. And this is where I'm going to put Illinois, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. And I showed you Connecticut. If we go back and look at it, the most recent poll from Emerson, which was, this was last year, so grain of salt here, but we saw that in the span of little bit over a month, it went from Biden plus 13 to Biden plus 9. So, yeah, let's, we'll keep things tempered, keep expectations tempered, but if you're a Republican or a Trump fan. But, hey, I could see it wavering. But you may be wondering, what about New York, New Jersey, and Illinois? And let's go look at them. So, where are we starting? Here we go. Let's start with New Jersey. This is from this year. This is only about 2 months ago, in fact. Biden plus 6, Biden plus 5 in New Jersey? That's surprising. Wait a second. What's going on here? This is interesting information. And if we go to New York, well, wait a second here. Even Emerson is showing it competitive. Emerson's showing it within 10 if you include third-party candidates. And Trump at 45 in New York? Well, does this match with other pollsters? Other pollsters are saying, well, here's Siena, which is a very reputable pollster. Biden plus 9. In fact, and I could show even more polls, but basically, it's all Siena, aka the New York Times, and they polled it about once a month, it looks like, or once every other month for a while now, and the only time they showed it not within 10 or not even close was way back in September. But then here it is competitive. Here it is competitive in October. And that's a lot of shift in a month, by the way. And it keeps showing it close to competitive or almost competitive. Something's going on here. So I feel like it's warranted to put it in the likely category, just because it makes sense based off of the polling that I've seen. In Illinois, we're seeing the same thing. Emerson and, well, Emerson's basically the only people who've polled this. Yeah, so back in September, Biden plus 13. Okay, that's what we would expect. Next Emerson poll, Biden plus 12. Okay, well, that's just possibly noise. Emerson, Biden plus 10. And then we haven't had anything since. So I'm curious where things are now. And we also look, public policy polling shows, Biden plus 9. So, yeah, this is the only pollster that has shown it not being competitive, or at least not being close to competitive. So I'm skeptical of this pollster. Just based off of the other pollsters that we have that are reputable here, minus Zogby, who did this on behalf of, RFK. Come on, really? Okay. Anyway, so that's why I'm showing these in that position. And honestly, I'm going to put the 2nd District in Maine as safe for Trump, just because let's be honest here, I don't see Biden winning that district. But yeah. Now we move on to the likely category for Trump, and this is going to be a pretty small category, to be honest with you. And that's Alaska, Florida, and North Carolina. And part of me wanted to put Florida in the safe camp, and I'm still half tempted to, but it's been a swing state my entire life, so it just feels wrong to put it as a safe state. North Carolina, I'm pretty confident in, and North Carolina is one of those states where it's basically turnout, and the North Carolina GOP is really good about, really good at doing that. Alaska, I've seen it starting to get more competitive, so it feels right at the moment to put it in the likely category. Which means time to move on to the leans. These are basically states where I think both camps should be spending money and time and working on their ground game. And honestly, it's kind of why I put New York there. Is it seems like the campaign infrastructure from Zeldin's near loss, in 2022, it's looking like it's still there. And if he can, put that to work for Donald Trump, it might make New York an actual swing state. And I've been saying it about New York and Illinois for years, is that realistically, Republicans are underperforming where they probably should be, simply based on the fact that the rural areas aren't voting like rural areas in the rest of the country. So, if Republicans can get those areas to turn out for them, we're going to start seeing these states drift towards the GOP. Probably not flippable, but who knows? And looks like I was right. Anyway, I'm going to put New Mexico and Minnesota in that category, as well as New Hampshire. I've seen some stuff indicating New Hampshire might be competitive, but I doubt that, I kind of sort of don't think Donald Trump is going to win it. It's just, could it happen? Yeah. Do I think it will? No. And then we move on to, and actually, I should have put Texas in that category, the likely category for Trump. Most polling is showing it about 10%, and I just don't see any indication that the Democrats are going to be able to win there this year. Who knows? And this is where I'm going to put Arizona and Georgia. And the reason why I'm putting them in the leans Republican category, and by the way, Minnesota and New Mexico I'm putting there because I think there's something to it. Minnesota, if we flip up to, where is it? There we go. Minnesota. Oh, we actually have, okay, we can ignore this one, which is an internal poll. This is a pretty reputable one, and it shows the same thing it's always shown. And this is from, actually, I think this one is also from this year. It doesn't show too competitive a race, but the other poll we have actually does show a competitive race. And if we go to New Mexico, we don't have enough polling there, but that's from way last year. But, we're seeing within the margin, within where I would feel comfortable calling it competitive. I just want to see more polling, right? All right. Now we get into the fun category, the tilt category. These are the states that I think are, genuinely speaking, the absolute closest. And as of right now, I have no states put in that category for Biden. Instead, it's all for Trump. And you may be wondering, well, Nevada, it's polling at a larger margin than Arizona is. Why are you only putting it tilt? Well, the reason is Nevada is notoriously difficult to poll. Polls tend to be off more in Nevada than they are in other places. And polls have historically overstated Republican support in Nevada. So I'm just kind of hedging my bets, saying it's very competitive there. Wisconsin. Again, Trump's polling slightly ahead there, on average. Same thing in Michigan, same thing in Pennsylvania. And the only poll I've seen of Maine at large shows, and the most recent one shows, the Donald ahead. Actually, right now I'm going to put Virginia in the tilt Dem category. You may be wondering, whoa, that's crazy. Well, let's go look at some polling of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Yeah, isn't that funny? The two most recent polls show dead even or a slight Biden lead. dead even, slight Biden lead. That's interesting. And then, yeah, okay, you've got this pollster from April showing, very slight Biden lead, and of course Trump's internal polling. Hey, it looks like they're actually, showing similar results to what the nonpartisan pollsters are showing. So, you know what? Actually, Virginia is competitive this year. Who would have thunk? That said, I haven't seen any polling for U.S. Senate. Or have we? Yes, we have. Yeah. Okay, that should tell me everything I need to know. Of course, it hasn't been polled since April, so we'll see. We know Youngkin isn't running, so this is the only poll we have to go off of in the Senate, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But looking at, the presidential election right now with a national environment of Trump +1 or slightly over that, if we go back to presidential general election and we go national, this is about where I would expect it, minus Virginia, which is kind of unusual for me. I'd expect Minnesota to actually flip, but this is close to where I would expect it, minus a few irregularities, such as New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, but I've included those there because polling seems to indicate those three states might actually be competitive. Anyway, so we're going to move on to the Senate, where we're going to do the exact same thing. And let's be honest here, that was expected. And honestly, I think New York in the Senate is going to be safe. I don't think it's even been polled, but it might. So if we go to U.S. Senate in 2024, yeah, exactly. Every poll, except this is all from last year, so I genuinely, oh God, it might even be from 22. Yeah, this is all from 2022. That's crazy. Oh. Yeah, no kidding. They don't even have. Oh my goodness. Yeah. No Senate polls, but I don't imagine it would be anything other than safe. Just like Massachusetts and Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, there's no way Bernie Sanders doesn't win that one. I'm pretty confident in Angus King in Maine as well. I think he'll probably win that comfortably, but we'll see. Let me actually check this out. 2024 Senate Maine. I want to see who all is running. I selected this because I wanted to go to the article. Okay, so actually, it is going to be a 3-horse race. Interesting. So, Angus King, yeah, he's got a crud load of money. Both the Democrat and Republican seem to be underfunded. Angus King obviously has a crap ton of cash on hand. He's got some pretty interesting endorsements, which that makes sense because, and I don't see any endorsements for Republican or Democrat. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm honestly at the moment going to upgrade this to safe for Angus King. New Jersey, I'm pretty I'm reasonably confident in because, sure, you have Bob Menendez, who's deeply unpopular and, yeah, has a lot of issues, but he's not the Democratic nominee. And in fact, he is running as an independent, but I don't think he's going to get above like 7%. I'd be surprised if he even gets 5% as of right now. So, yeah. Delaware, I'm counting that as safe for the Democrats as well. We are not talking about Maryland just yet because that is an interesting one. Now, safe for Republicans, we've got Wyoming, we've got Utah, we got North Dakota. I'm pretty confident in the Nebraska special election. Okay, so he would likely caucus with the Democrats, but I don't know. And I'm pretty confident that Nebraska is going to, I don't really see a reason why the Maine election would be competitive. Missouri, I count that as safe. Indiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, West Virginia is safe, and that's actually a flip. And now we move on to the likely states. I'm actually pretty confident in New Mexico. I am pretty confident in Minnesota. And believe it or not, as of right now, I'm pretty confident in Arizona because polling indicates that it is not looking good for Kari Lake. Yeah, I mean, this is showing why I'm pretty confident. So, yeah. Actually, no, we want U.S. Senate. Oh, yeah, and I'm going to also, right now, it's looking like the VP is going to be a Republican. So, anyway. Anything else I would put in the likely category? No. Pretty confident in Texas. I'm pretty confident in Florida. And now we move into the leans category. And, well, let's move to the first interesting. Almost forgot. Sorry. Right now, polling indicates that Virginia's safe down. Almost forgot about that. So let's look at Montana first. There we go. And I do not see... Come on. Update. There we go. So, yeah. We've got an Emerson College poll, and whoever these guys are, showing a somewhat competitive election. This one, which was done on behalf of Billings, Montana, well, I mean, that's kind of important. From February, and shows not a ultra competitive race, but the most recent and most reputable poll, but the most recent poll that we have is showing a competitive race. As of right now, I'm actually going to tilt it towards the Democrats. If we go to, I want to say Ohio would be the next one. Go to Ohio. And I believe Moreno is the current nominee. And yeah, I mean, all the polling that we have is showing that Sherrod Brown is actually a strong incumbent. I'd almost put that in the likely category, but I'm going to keep it in leans. Nevada, I'm pretty sure that it is not. I think Brown is actually the nominee. Yeah. And that showing is not competitive. But we'll see what happens. But as of right now, based off of the information I have, I'm actually going to put it in the likely category. If we go to, let's go Wisconsin, polling indicates, yeah, Baldwin's doing quite well there. I put it in the leans category, but, you know, I can see reasonable arguments for likely. Michigan, right now, if we look at it, that's a competitive election. It's competitive, and that's a reputable pollster. And that's competitive, which I don't know about them, but we'll see. So, yeah, polling seems to indicate that it's actually a competitive seat. So I'm going to put it in the tilt category. Okay, let's take a look at Pennsylvania. Which shows, you know, Senator Casey is doing pretty solidly, you know, that it's not really looking that competitive. Which means that true control of the Senate might rest on an interesting state. And I said I'd circle back here. Maryland. And if we go all the way back, we'll ignore this poll and this poll. That's a primary poll anyway. Emerson did this and found out that, oh, hey, look at this. Number one, it's competitive. But number two, against also Brooks, who is the Democratic nominee, wait a second, Hogan led her. That's strange. Okay, well, how about this one, which was done by the Washington Post and the University of Maryland? Well, Hogan led also Brooks by 14. That's not a competitive election. Goucher College for the Baltimore Banner. I've never heard of that. I've heard of Goucher, but yeah, found Hogan up by 4 against also Brooks. Interesting. These people sponsored one from this pollster I've never heard of before. Also Brooks trailed Hogan by almost 20. Yeah. Oh, hey, look, we've got public policy polling. They're somewhat of a reputable pollster, but they're doing it on behalf of a Democratic political action committee. And they found also Brooks up by 9. Okay, well, the next time Emerson polled, they found also Brooks up by 10. So that's the most recent poll that we have. And it's a lot of movement since the last time Emerson polled this race, which that's about a 20-point movement from February. So as of right now, I think it's safe to categorize it as leans, and that's where I'm going to put it, because I still think Hogan actually has, you know, potential to carry that. But we're going to see movement in a lot of these races as we get closer to Election Day, I think. Montana is definitely the sketchiest hold for Democrats right now. Ohio, which is one that Republicans should be close to winning or trying to win, they're not. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you like that, likes, comments, subscriptions, they always do help. I'm going to try to get back to, you know, uploading, and I'm going to try to upload, you know, every week on Sundays, because I have Sundays off now. So, yay. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you all next time.